What up, everyone? It is Ja not January. I can't read right. It is December 5th, the year of our Lord 2025. This is a Zooch and Wilde podcast. Um, Gonna be a quick one. Feeling a little under the weather. Zooch a little under the weather. And there wasn't even a lot of big news this last week in college
There was
football.
one thing.
There was there
Well, that and
wasn't a
Penn
lot of news.
State doesn't
Yeah,
have a coach somehow still.
yeah, and Iowa beat Nebraska. That was probably the biggest name and the biggest story in college sports this week. Obviously not. Lane Kiffin has left Ole Miss to go to LSU. Zooch, I'm going to give the floor to you as an Ole Miss fan, as someone who's talked about it on the show, not on the show, been scouring the message boards. I just want what you're thinking. Just give me it. I mean, this is the raw reaction. First time on camera
Yeah.
since the breaking news last week.
Well, the annoying part of it was never him leaving, right? Like you somewhat understand that, even though I do think it's kind of silly to leave. Like you're not have an 11-1 team and you leave. I think that's kind of silly, but that's neither here nor there. The annoying part is, and it's what he does everywhere he goes, which is it's what makes it funny. Is like I wonder how LSU is going to turn out because throughout his career, you're like, okay, well maybe like Al Davis is an asshole, right? You're like maybe Al Davis like screwed him at uh the Raiders with his first head coaching job. Then you're like, okay, goes to Tennessee for a year, not the best look, but you're like, okay, he's a California guy, USC's his dream job. The timing, you're just like, oh, like the timing sucks, not a great look. You kind of get. Then he says they didn't tell him at USC that there's going to be which you and I both know, and I know especially you living in California. Everyone knew that USC was probably about to be on probation and like lose scholarships and stuff, right?
Yeah, I mean, Pete
So he
Carroll
gives,
doesn't leave this Seattle unless you know something's up. Like it's
yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, he was literally running like they were a dynasty when Pete Carroll left. He gets fired on the tarmac there. Everyone's kind of making fun of him. Goes to Bama, has his run-ins with like Saban, which causes Saban to be like, "All right, you're gone from here." And I think that's what annoys Ole Miss fans the most is like when literally nobody wanted it, and nobody wanted him. When Ole Miss came calling, Ole Miss and Arkansas, I think was the other team that was trying to interview him when he was at FAU. You come here, and it just, I think it rubs you the wrong way that like right when you're to a point where like, all right, you're in the playoff, you have a chance to win a national championship this year, and you once again, which you've done 1,000 times before, make it about yourself. And it'll end up the same way at LSU because the difference between like an LSU and an Ohio State, Bama, I even think you could put USC in there. It's not about winning a national championship, right? It's about winning the national championship every single year. Like Les Miles was like 130 something and like 33, I think, his record at LSU, which is a great record. He got fired. Coach O got fired. So it's never about at those places. Like he could go and win the national championship next year, right? And people are like, oh my God, it's the greatest thing in the world. If he doesn't win it the following year, people are going to be mad, like be all over your case and stuff. And I think I'm not going to sit here and say he won't win a national championship at LSU. I think there's a good chance he might. That being said, I also think it's a little bit like I think if you really look at it, LSU is also overpaying to have a coach who has never even won a conference, like a Power Four conference title,
I
right?
don't know
Like,
if you saw the stat that said LSU is paying $150 million to their coaches. They're still paying off Coach O's buyout, which
yeah,
is it's
well,
crazy. That
and no,
and
that's
I will have to ask: will the state of Mississippi and Zooch be boycotting a certain chicken finger fast casual establishment.
Uh, one just opened here in Boise, actually. But no, like I get him wanting at the end of the day, I get him wanting to go to LSU. He handled it terribly, like absolutely. And I don't care what any of these like. I've seen this one bald headed dude that like is in like Baton Rouge, New Orleans, like the ESPN people down there, like who also like last year was saying that Brian Kelly was a better coach than Lane Kiffin. He's been like super defensive of Kiffin, which was also funny to me that Kiffin was on there saying like, "Oh, there was no ultimatum," and then he just doesn't handle this stuff well, and I think that's just who he is. And I do like Lane Kiffin. I think he's funny. I think he's a really good offensive football coach. I do not think he should be getting paid more than Kirby Smart. I think that is utterly insane. It's like, and that's what I mean is like you. Now that he's not, I think he's a really good head coach, but he also got a huge pay raise, and he has seriously never won like a conference championship game. It's like wild if you sit down and think about it that he got that much of a bump, and a lot of that had to do with okay, uh, Indiana, Signetti re-upped. Obviously, like Dabo Sweeney's really not going anywhere, and his like how good of a coach he is has also got taken a hit a little bit. Kirby's not going anywhere. Ryan Day's not going anywhere. But it's like, I mean, like Lincoln Riley's won more than Lane Kiffin, right? Like, so it's, I don't know if it's everyone wants to always with coaching hires grade them, which I think is stupid because you truly have no freaking clue. Like, you don't know, like, how good somebody's going to be when you hire, and there's a million different variables that go into it. But yeah, like I'm not gonna sit here and say I wish him luck. I hope he fails. I'll be quite honest with you. I hope he fails down there. I don't want arch rival of Ole Miss and a coach leaving to do good. But it's also not surprise. Like I said, that's who he is, and it's never ever his fault. Wasn't his fault at the Raiders. Wasn't his fault at Tennessee. Wasn't his fault at USC. Wasn't his fault that Saban fired him, and now it's not his fault here that you know everyone wanted him to coach the playoff. Nobody wanted you to coach the playoffs, bro. Maybe like two
That's the
players,
thing
but
that I find ridiculous. That's one thing I would say I kind of found ridiculous about this whole thing was that I just the fact that he even I don't know like UC coaches all the time. Like I mean, shit, Bob Chesney just left for UCLA. James Madison could make the playoff. Like,
yeah,
and you don't see Bob Chesney going like, well, if somehow James Madison gets in, like, I want to coach James Madison. It's like, no, dude. Like,
no, and it's also like
it
people
it
are
was
comparing the
unbelievable to even ask that, in my opinion.
well, yeah, and it's like and that's what I mean is like it's always the same. He burns every bridge he's ever like he. It's almost like he can't. I got. I feel bad for him in a way because I think he's like kind of self destructive and doesn't even realize he's being self destructive. Like this is something that you like leaving an 11-1 team to go to an arch rival, and then this stuff coming out about and who know I got like a lot of it's hearsay, but allegedly telling coaches if you're not on the plane, then I'm not going to hire you, and dragging it out like he did. All this stuff, you're back to square one of when no one even wanted to hire you. And like LSU might love you right now, but it's like I said, unless you win the national title every year, they're not going to love you. And most of these coaches that take these big time jobs like an LSU and stuff, it's just you're just the next cog in the wheel or whatever. Like Les Miles won a national title. Ed Orgeron won a title.
That's what I
Nick
mean.
Saban won a title.
It,
Like
it is so far like rare, I think. And it's because look, I love the playoff, but it's because every team has a legitimate shot now to win a national
yeah,
championship. And you could say it was before, oh, you win out. It's like, no. If you go undefeated and you're in a Power 4 conference, you will have a chance to make the national championship. Where in the BCS, the AP poll, the 14 playoff, that was not the case. And I think we're seeing a lot with these coaches, just the way the sport's going. It's like, I don't know. There's so few success stories of the Kirby Smarts and the Sabins and the Pete Carrolls at SC. Like a lot of like the longtime coaches that people think, wow, these guys are great. It's like Frank Beamer played in one national championship his entire career at
Right.
Virginia Tech. I mean, shoot, you could even look at Urban Meyer in Florida. Like you would have thought Urban Meyer coached in Florida for 2 decades.
No,
He
that's
he
what
coached
I
for
mean
less
is
than he coached for less than a decade in
that
Gainesville. And I will say, people forget that. I mean, it didn't end as poorly as this, but there was a couple people ticked in Gainesville when he like said, "Oh man, I have health problems," and then a couple years later takes the Ohio State job. Like people were ticked. So it's this whole thing of like maybe the grass isn't always greener.
no, and I
I
agree.
will
And
say
like I said, I think
you said
he
it.
could absolutely win a national championship there. But
Yeah,
I mean, would you be at all surprised if, let's say, next year Alabama comes open, or maybe even Texas, and he's not like, oh, I'm gonna go. Let me go. That's just what he does. And and like I said, my biggest thing with it is, while I think he is a very good offensive coach, I think he is a great offensive coach. Actually, probably the one of, if not the best in college football. He still has not really gotten over that hump of getting in. Like last year, the Old Miss's defense under Pete Golding, who I actually really do like, was the only reason Old Miss was in like 6-6 last year, because the offense couldn't score more than like 20 points in a freaking SEC game, and then like allegedly the greatest roster they've ever had. So that part is kind of shocking to me, which is, in a weird way, you're almost like, oh, like maybe they dodged a bullet here a little bit, Ole Miss, because you're paying the man more than Kirby Smart, more than Ryan Day, more than
I think
Dabo Sweeney, and he hasn't. That part is a little bit wild to me, and I think it's because, like we talked about a little bit earlier, so many coaches re-upped and stuff like that, and a lot of them just aren't going anywhere. And Kirby Smart will probably get a raise at the end of the year and stuff like that. But it's still kind of shocking me that he's getting paid that much money and legitimately has not ever been to a conference championship in a Power Four
it's
league.
it is. I think the issue, or at least a massive issue, and this is the last thing I'll say. I think why it's become so testy and why this situation is unique, because there's some people who are like, "Oh, people have left in the past and burned bridges." It's like 100%. And I totally get like leaving to go to LSU, where I don't know if you said it last week, where you could walk and like spit at your shoe and then like I guess not spit at your shoe, like throw your shoe as far as you can and it lands on a 5-star like porch,
Yeah,
right? But I don't. I it's beyond me that you'd leave an 11-1 team. I think it's beyond me too that you'd have the gall to ask to coach that team. And
yeah,
then the
that's
people who are upset about being upset, it's like if I'm Ole Miss, imagine if you're an Ole Miss player right now and you're going, well, shit, I just had my best year under Lane Kiffin. He's gone. I know he's waiting for me to offer, but I have a chance to win a national championship. And if Ole Miss doesn't get bounced in the first round, they're probably not going to have time to go play before the portal opens up.
right.
That's why that's the root of all this testiness. People don't want to admit it. Is that there is half the roster at Ole Miss could potentially be stolen by Lane Kiffin.
Yeah,
That's essentially
exactly, and
what we're looking at.
right, and it's also like, and I get it, Ole Miss isn't like Texas or Oklahoma, but I mean, are we being for real? If oh my god, I'm sick, so it's hard for me to think of stuff right now. If Brent Venables was like, "Hey, I'm gonna go take the Texas job, but Sooner Nation, let me coach in the playoffs," they'd be like, "Get the fuck out of here." That's what they would like.
I'm
And
pretty sure.
everyone was,
I'm pretty sure the Voices would fly down to Norman and personally picket protest.
Yeah, no, and it's like it's going to be different for him. And like I said, maybe he wins a national championship, maybe not. I would bet national championship or not, things end terribly because things end terribly everywhere he get. Like they just, and that's like you can look at the history and be like, all right, yeah, Raiders horrible, Tennessee horrible. I mean, I guess you could say like, I mean, if things ended terribly if you get fired on the tarmac. So
That is
I'm
true.
sorry, I don't know what
Speaking
else.
of tarmacs, there is a couple of great lists. We have that is one of the best things that come out of this. We might have some list nominations of the year so far. There were some
Yeah,
good ones this week. Um, but speaking of college football, like coaches and all of that stuff, he kind of set the domino off, I would say. Um, Florida finally filled their role. Auburn
which
filled
also
their
that's another thing that pissed the Ole
Arkansas.
Miss fans off is this bastard took so long that like they wanted like and I like Pete Golding. I really he just like Cody is going to see Pete Golding and think he's the greatest. Like want him at Oklahoma like tomorrow because he like just talks about beer and like hitting people. So
That's
we'll
true.
see how
No,
it goes.
you have a lot of people following. You got Chesney to UCLA. Fun fact. Tim Skipper, the UCLA interim coach. Guess where he's going to be coaching next year? Might be the
It
funniest team
was
in America.
it was
It's the
Cal Poly,
funniest.
right?
Yeah, Cal Poly. That's Cal Poly is the worst fucking football program in the country. And I can say that because my brother goes there and they see the most people that stadium sees in a year is for the freaking rodeo that the rodeo team puts on down in San
Well,
Luis Obispo. So, Tim Skipper, but I kind of want to get your thoughts. Which school do you think made the best hire? And then I want to talk about a little bit what the hell does Penn State do?
originally I thought the ones that made the best hire was Florida because I like John Summerall has been really good everywhere he's been, and then they released a video of him like taking the phone call from like the decked out Gators room. So
Yeah.
I'm starting to question him, but I'll still put him at first.
Also, mean nickname
Arkansas is
already. Mean nickname already.
G5 John.
The Gator fans can't help themselves. The G5 John.
Well, now and they already like when I was a kid, they hated Lane Kiffin because he would like come at them when Urban Meyer was there, and now they really hate him because he led them on. And granted, their people led them on too for like 3 weeks, being like, "Yeah, he's." But you know what? Maybe Lane Kiffin was telling them I'm coming there too. Who knows? He's a liar, so who knows what he was saying? I really thought all the SEC teams did a pretty good like. And I know Ryan Silverfield gets a lot of crap, but if you're Arkansas, you got to kind of look at it as like we're not Florida, we're not Auburn, so that's where Summerall and Alex Golish, who I
Love
found
the
out was
Goalish
born in
hire.
Russia.
Hey, I guess he might fit in perfectly with Bruce Pearlman there. Seems to love all those.
Oh, yeah, so I liked all those ones. Penn State, which was hilarious, watching like the crumble cookie guy, like being like, "Well, it looks like I need to do it." I don't know what they're gonna do because you are just in a.
Have you
You
seen their
got your
recruiting
damn
rankings?
coach. Yes, your damn coach you fired is stealing all your people to come with him to Virginia Tech. Uh who did UCLA end up hiring?
Chesney. They got Chesney from
Chesney, that's
JMU.
right. They
That's who I thought Penn State should have gone after. But I feel like Penn State is getting a real reality check right now of where they stand because
well, it's just and it's what kind of bodes to what you said earlier is a lot of these guys are looking at it and they're like, why in the hell would I go somewhere that just fired a dude who is especially going forward, going to be a perennial, maybe not this year, like things went wrong this year, but going to be in the playoffs every freaking year. They just fired him. Why in the hell would I go there and have to deal with that and not have a job in 3 or 4 years? Because it's going to be that way for, I don't care who you are. It is, you are not going to see teams winning 3 straight national championships, or I even think back to back would be extremely hard. I really do. Like, I think Ohio State might could get it done this year, but it's still not going to be like it used to be, where it's like you win your conference title game, and then you have 40 days to prepare for one more game. Now it's straight into like you get a couple weeks off, and you're playing 3 or 4 good, really good teams most of the time. McGuire, Texas Tech stayed there. Like, I get the G5 guys jumping, but
Okay.
Sataki stayed. Like, do you blame? Like,
Dillingham's looks like he's gonna stay. That was the one where everyone thought Dillingham was gone, but it's like, and he tweeted out that like Denzel Washington one where it's like it is like grass is greener illness, where it's like
yeah,
if you keep looking for the greener grass, like you'll never realize like the one you're standing on is pretty good. And then he tweeted some like stupid hashtag I think afterwards about something Sun Devil related. But
right.
no, I totally get it, and I'm even just trying to think of guys that they should hire. I am usually not a fan of hiring interim head coaches, but at this point, he might be one of like your better options because if you hire him, at least you can keep your current team right now. Like Penn State's looking at a
Well,
situation where they don't have any high school recruits, and they could lose half their production on offense and defense.
yeah, and you gotta. I mean, and it's like I just don't know what was going on there, because like, how did Michigan State get Pat Fitzgerald? It's like it's almost like they thought they were better than a lot of these candidates
I think they did.
and went for people who were like, oh no, and like it's hard. I personally think to get like Golish and Summerall and Silverfield all have been coaching and recruiting in the South. It's hard to get someone to come up to Pennsylvania and start doing, like, usually, like, I know they got oh my god, what's his name? That's the guy that's fired. Once again, I am sick and I have a fog brain right now. James Franklin came from
Yeah.
Vandy. But I mean, I think you might have to hire that guy on, like, shoot, even if it's just a 1 year deal, and just try to figure it out next
Give him
year,
the
maybe.
free
But
tech deal. That's honestly what I would do. Like you are in punt mode for Penn State. Like you
yeah,
have to like hire the interim guy, say, "Hey man, you get a one like sign him to a 1 year contract." You don't even got to say it's an interview. I don't know. I'm just not a fan of generally hiring interim guys. I mean, I think the Spencer Danielsons of the world are few and far in between, and you get way more Antonio Pierces, if that makes sense, in terms of hiring interim. But I
well, I
just
think especially if and that's like the worry with Pete Golding at Ole Miss is like, and granted, I think he had a little bit more experience. I think our thing with Spencer
I think
Danielson
that's
was this
different.
dude
I think that's
doesn't
different
have a
though,
lot of
'cause
experience. Like Golding
Pete
was
Pete
under
Golding was
Saban and
also
stuff like
yeah,
that.
and
So
Golding was never the interim. This is like a true promotion. Like this is not
yeah,
like players rah rah. We want the interim. This is Ole Miss, the administration, whether it was a rushed one or not. They made the call and said
yeah.
this is who we're sticking with. So I see that as better. Too many coaching stuff, man. That was a
Hey, you know
lot.
what? Spencer Danielson has made the freaking somehow. That man is like, I know he says thank you Jesus after every win. I'm starting to think he might have sold a soul to the devil, because this team could be 1-11 and somehow be in the effing Mountain West championship game. So,
Hey, man. Hey, top 50 class in the nation. First time since the Harsin days,
yeah,
man. Look at
no,
hey.
he can recruit his ass off, and that's like
No,
that's the thing. Like, I like Danielson. I worry
that
sometimes, like, and we don't want to get too sidetracked, but
no, that's what I'll say. That's one thing I do like about Danielson, and we've talked about it. In this age, it is nice to have. You just need a leader and someone. I was gonna say right the ship, but I don't want to be a PJ Fleck loser, so I will refer from
that's
any
fair.
naval or boat references. But no, he's doing good. But we got conference championship today and tomorrow. Conference championships today and tomorrow. Um, sorry to the majority of the group of five. Sorry to our Mountain West listeners. We will not be just quickly discussing your Mountain West championship or the Conference USA. We'll be doing the conference championships that will generally make an impact on the playoff. So the first we're going to touch on, or do you know what your prediction is the American Championship tonight. It's going to be
which is a
UNT.
weird game with both coaches leaving, but also will be coaching in the playoffs for whoever wins.
Mm-hmm. So you got UNT, Tulane. UNT, I was surprised. They're a 2.5 point favorite. I was super shocked about that. However, I have Tulane winning this game and covering. I just see Tulane. This is the year for a sacrificial lamb in the G5.
Maybe
It's going to
two,
suck.
because if Duke wins, I don't know that James Madison's not going to be. I really think.
If Duke wins, you are actually, we see people talk about nuking sport. The big wigs of college football, they don't know how to process like something like that. And I will think it's hilarious, but they won't know. But no,
I want to make sure. Hold on. Oh my god. Let's see here. Okay, so what the hell? That one's old. What the? Hold on. I have Tulane too, but I think it'd be cool if North Texas won, because if you had told me, what was it, 3 years ago now, that year that BSU played North Texas in like the Frisco Bowl, that these two teams would have back-to-back playoff appearances, I would have been like, you've lost your ever-loving mind. Like, that was
if
such.
you saw Davis Cutter catching passes
Yeah,
over the middle.
because they both looked so bad. But okay,
Oh my god, that's funny, man.
yeah. I
Totally
mean,
forgot.
James Madison is ranked, so
Yeah, no,
I
it's
guess like
possible.
if they lost and Duke won, it would have to be Duke. But at that point, how
No,
do
but
you not know?
There's a Boise State chance. That's the crazy scenario. Like if Boise State blows out UNLV, right? Someone might actually need to check the strength of schedule because that like Notre Dame game and that USF game aren't terrible anymore. On like also if Boise State, no, I'm not gonna even say it. Let's move on to the Big 12 championship game. You got BYU,
Which
Texas Tech. Texas Tech's 12.5 point favorites. I think this
that
has
team's really good.
I think Texas Tech's gonna kill them. I think with the Satake stuff, I think with a team like BYU, I don't think because sometimes I think that could be like, wow, it gives you your juice, like your guy's choosing you. I think with just how big of like it got, and like Kalani Sitake like had an agreement to go to Penn State unless BYU matched. So
Yeah,
I think Texas Tech's going to kill them. I think that 12.5 points will be way higher.
I think Texas, and I've been high on Texas Tech since, and I have them pulled up right now. Our playoff predictions.
Oh
I've been
jeez.
high on Texas Tech all year. Honestly, ours. Like I'll start with yours. Okay, the Penn State. You had your one. We both had Penn State, so
All
we both
right.
missed there. We both had Clemson, and we missed
That's a
there.
miss there.
And we had Texas. All we
Semi
both had
miss. That's a
Texas.
semi miss. I'm
Semi
gonna
miss.
put semi miss.
And then I had Bama, Georgia,
Hit.
Ole Miss, Notre Dame, Tulane, USC's a miss, Oregon, Michigan.
Yeah, but USC is not a bad miss, and I would say
No.
neither is Michigan. Like those aren't. I had what were mine? I had some
Okay,
bad
you
ones.
had. I'll just go 1 through 12. You had Penn State, one, Clemson,
Bad.
two.
Yeah, bad. Bad.
Your three was
Oh, is it Utah?
Georgia.
Okay, hit.
Georgia was your three.
Hit.
Utah, it was your four,
Semi
and that's
miss.
not a bad. That's a.
Semi miss.
If they could have
Semi
just
miss.
beaten BYU, they'd be in.
Oh yeah, I semi miss.
Texas, Georgia Tech was looking great until the
Semi
last three
miss.
weeks of the season.
Semi miss. Brent
Um,
Key, they just sputtered, man. I've never seen a team. Do you know how high and mighty I was feeling when they were like one loss, and I'm like, they just gotta like win, like make the ACC championship, and played Georgia close, and they played Georgia close. All they had to do was not lose more than one ACC game, and I would have been and they would have been first like stupid Virginia too.
I know
Oh,
it's, and now Duke is going to get to the playoffs. And then you had Oregon and BSU.
Okay.
And the TCU one is a weird one too. But
I don't know why. Looking back, I don't know why TCU. I think I just wanted to go balls to the wall with TCU
we got to
and
kind
Josh
of have
Hoover.
some fun with it. I didn't have Ohio State in my playoffs, though. That makes me look like a fool. But we'll
You
move
you
on.
weren't you weren't high on saying. But no. Last thing about the Big 12. What was I gonna say? Forget it. It wasn't important anyway. Let's go to the SEC championship game. We got Georgia, Bama, in what appears to be the 11 billionth time these teams have played in my lifetime, at Mercedes-Benz
This
Stadium.
is becoming the Lesnar Reigns WrestleMania. Like, all right, we've seen this before. We know what happens here.
And is Bama Lesnar in this scenario? Because somehow that
Yes.
motherfucker will just win.
Like, all right, it's Georgia's time to get over. Nope.
Ah, man,
And it
I would have
actually is
actually
funny
liked
because
to see.
like Ty Simpson played like shit against Auburn the other day, and he'll throw for like 385 for no reason. It's like it's so, and that's like another thing that's funny about these coaches is like people always like that's still like a knock. Like you don't have a better coach than Kirby Smart, and that's still a knock on him. It's like, oh, he can't beat Bama. Like he
No,
can't
I
beat
don't think
Bama, and
he's
you're
gonna
like,
beat him this Saturday either. I have Bama winning, even though they're a 2.5 point underdog. I think Bama somehow is gonna win, and I think you're gonna call it where it's like everyone was so easy to jump on DeBoer, calling him DeBoard, making fun of his 2005 workout T-shirts that he was wearing on the sidelines, and I think Alabama's gonna win. I think it's gonna piss a lot of people off to be like, "Oh my god, I think Alabama hired the right guy."
yeah, and he's. I would laugh if he won that game, and like the next day it was like he was going to Penn State. I would just find that so freaking funny. Okay, so we both have Bama in that game because I think Bama too, which means before because we won't have a thing, and then we have Indiana Ohio State, right?
Indiana, Ohio State, and ACC to pick.
Okay.
So Big Ten, it's Ohio State at a 4.5 point favorite, which I think is pretty low. I think there's a chance that Ohio State could just beat the shit out of this team. I
Well, do you want? I have a weird feeling with this game because I feel like Ohio State was pretty dominant over Michigan. Like once, and I don't know if you felt this way, but once Michigan didn't score a touchdown on that first possession, and then after they got the interception or like inside like the 20 or whatever and didn't score, I was like,
well, Michigan
you
can't
kind
throw the
of,
football.
yeah. And that's, I think, more so a playmaker thing than it is a quarterback thing for them right now. I think they just don't have playmakers. We'll see about that, but that's kind of how I feel. But Indiana has kind of skidded by. Like I've given Ohio State a bunch of crap because they haven't had the toughest schedule. Indiana has like they skirted by versus Iowa. They skirted by versus Penn State. Like I don't I think Ohio State might win by like 17 too. I think whoever wins this game is going to win by double digits, and I think whoever loses this game will go farther in the playoff.
Okay, all right. Like that prediction. Let's do it. Okay, and then ACC championship. But before I have
Please
my
let it be
prediction,
Duke.
I saw one of the meanest tweets, and I couldn't even have it in my list. But someone said Manny Diaz made the ACC championship before Mario Cristobal in Miami, and it just killed me.
They
Manny,
literally
Manny. It's unbelievable, man.
they
And
lost to Connecticut and might be in the freaking playoff.
Virginia is also only a 3.5 point favorite.
Yeah, and
I
they
like.
I
There's
guess
a very
Virginia
real
did
chance.
beat them by
Virginia's
17
quarterback
earlier.
is Josh. It's not Josh Hoover. It's that other freaking guy. It's the old TCU guy,
That's
Chandler
good.
Morris. Chandler Morris, right? Is it Chad
I
Morris's
think so.
son? This is oh my
Which
god. This is, I can't do the ACC championship, man. Last
Virginia
year was a
being 10 and
meme.
2
This
and
year's
no one
gonna
even knowing is like quasi hilarious.
That's funny.
Like,
No, but I have Virginia to win. I think
it
they're
is
gonna win.
Chandler
I
Morris.
think it's gonna be a Duke cover though. I think Duke's gonna cover that 3.5 point spread, and I think Twitter for like 35 minutes, you are going to see some peak meltdowns. You will see
Well,
peak meltdowns.
and it's one of those funny things that you're like, if you're a Virginia, if you go to Virginia, you're like, oh, holy hell! Like we are a win against Duke away from being in the playoff.
Yeah.
But you're also in the back of your mind. I know you're terrified because you're like, we're gonna lose this freaking game and never have a shot again
Yep.
to make the 12. Like this is our one shot, and we're
Yeah, especially
playing
because
7-5
their
Duke.
rival is going to get really good next year and probably never lose to them again with James Franklin. So it's like, this is your year. So we'll
You
see.
know,
I'm
give me
really
Duke.
excited.
Give me Duke. It would just be too fun. It would be. I don't. So okay, if we were doing the playoff, like we'll just say the favorites win, right?
Yeah.
Except for the like, we'll say Virginia wins that game. So you
Hmm.
would have one is going to be the Big Ten winner. Two, I think will either be Georgia or the Big Ten loser. I don't know if Alabama beats Georgia, if they'll jump with two losses, jump the loser of that Indiana Ohio State game.
Hmm.
Then three, SEC winner if it's Bama. Like I think Alabama would shoot up, but I don't because that would give them 2 wins over Georgia.
Yeah. No, there's so
That's,
much movement that could happen. I'm stoked.
do you
We'll be
think like?
watching.
Well, I've been seeing some stuff, and I think it was interesting, and I was kind of surprised. Like I thought it would have been stupid if Oklahoma jumped Ole Miss. I'd have been like, okay, they beat Oklahoma in effing Norman. What are we doing here? I was
No,
surprised to see Texas A&M fall behind Ole Miss because I don't know
I think
if
A&M could fall even further too.
you
In
think
my opinion.
if so. Who are our locks then? Ohio
I
State,
think
Indiana.
everyone Oklahoma down is a lock, and Alabama is like a 95% lock.
Okay,
Alabama
so
only doesn't get in if it gets real fucking funky with like everything going poorly.
yeah, I guess maybe if they got like bombarded by Georgia and they were
And
ten
like
and three.
BYU won, and James Madison won, and North Texas won, and like the committee was like, "Oh, we want Miami or Notre Dame in." Like BYU winning is the fuck up game. I think that's the real
Yeah.
fuck up game. Like if BYU
Well, and
wins,
then
because the committee's not leaving out Tech, so that bumped someone out, and it's going to be Notre Dame or Miami, or probably not Bama. It'd be Notre Dame, Miami,
yeah,
or
it'd be
Oklahoma.
Notre Dame or Miami because
Yeah,
you couldn't bump Oklahoma, not Bama, because Oklahoma beat.
yeah, and you couldn't punish Bama for losing a championship game because it would undermine
Yeah,
the championship. But no,
so it's gonna
it's gonna
be.
it's gonna get crazy.
I
Um,
hope to God Ole Miss gets like James Madison in the first round in Oxford. Ease Pete Golding into the role.
that's easy. All right, well, we're gonna end it with the list as we always do. A quick list. As always, we find these on our feeds. We neither confirm nor support nor deny that we support these tweets. We are just bringing what we see in our feeds to you. And I'm going to go first from at Braden Fejoko. He's a NFL influencer on X, and he's quote tweeting says Vandy QB Diego Pavia is calling for Donald Trump to sign an executive order to expand the CFP to 16 teams. And Braden goes, Trump gonna see your name and sign an executive order, all right.
Put him
Come
on
on,
the list.
come on, Braden.
I asked for my first one comes from at and it's a Gators fan at Ralph Brinkhouse, and it was when they were talking about the airplane coming to pick up the Kiffins, and it said Ole Miss fans. Yeah,
Yeah,
for here for
that was the one that killed the eye at that one too.
that one was so bad, but so it was so
Oh,
funny.
all right. My next one is actually comes from a New York Giants fan at Jones to China, and it's a video of Lane Kiffin walking to his private airplane with people booing him in the background, and he quote tweeted and said, "Kiffin's return to Ole Miss next year gonna have campus looking like a soccer game in Serbia, son."
That is, I'm trying to get some of the fellas to go down to that game because that will be a lot of fun just to see the chaos of that, especially if both are ranked. That could get like violent. Um, I have a couple more. Our old friend Bunky Perkins,
Yep.
the Juice Kiffin Twitter account tweeted this thing about if dogs are allowed to go to the SEC championship game, and Bunky Perkins just quote tweeted it with this photo from Old Yeller.
Bucky Perkins had. I was reminded about a Bunky Perkins still got his fastball. This weekend was like the equivalent to like Tim Lincecum in like 2014 throwing a no hitter when like everyone knew his like arm was shot and his career was over. But he's got like one more night in him.
Yeah,
That
he's
was
got
Bunky
one more.
Perkins over the weekend. My next one comes from at Brooks by Bryant. And it actually it seems like ages ago when the Mississippi State fans broke into the locker room and stole Trinidad's uniform. And it was the news report of this. And Brooks quote tweeted, the 11 Sigma Chi's going to the fountain last night after pulling off the greatest heist in Starkville history. And it's just the ending scene of Ocean's 11. It's just
That does
yeah.
seem like it was. It was like less than a week ago, and it seems like it was months ago with all the shit this weekend. That one was good too. There were some good ones about the jersey getting stolen, and my last one is from actually from it's from Old Row Official, and it was a picture of Kirby Smart just walking into the game like this with the glasses, and they said he's dressed like that because he just got back from one of his players' court here.
Not okay.
There was
Not
another Georgia guy arrested for a
Oh my
vehicular
god,
incident.
dude! What is I can't understand with Georgia, but oh well. But we have a great slate of games this weekend, man. Um, again, we appreciate everyone listening. Make sure you watch these games. This is the games to get your non-college football fans watching because it's an easy, palatable slate. Pretty much only one or two games per time slot, and with some games tonight, Friday. So I'm excited. Zooch, anything else before we hop
Uh,
off?
these are the four teams. I'm just going to read off this list, and all these teams are ranked around each other in after National Signing Day today, or early signing day. South Dakota, Monmouth, Brown, Colgate, Lindenwood, Columbia, William and Mary, Penn State. Which one
Uh,
doesn't fit?
I don't know. I don't know. Monmouth seems like they got some great things going with them, but that's it's unbelievable, man. We'll see with this Penn State stuff.
Ugh.
I'm sure we'll have some more word after conference championship weekend because they got to hire someone in the next week by the time we record next. But we thank you all for listening. Make sure you enjoy the games. We'll see you all next week.
Peace.